Texas, the Lone Star State. A land of wide skies, bold flavors, big dreams, and an attitude that says, we do things bigger here. But let's pause for a second, because here's the truth nobody really talks about. Not everything bigger is better. And sometimes, the real secret to living a happier, healthier life in Texas isn't about adding more. It's about letting go. Because in this land of endless highways, blistering summers, and proud traditions, there are also habits, pressures, and old beliefs that might be holding us back. Things we cling to because that's the Texas way. Even though deep down, we know it might not be serving us anymore. Today, we're going to uncover 15 things to stop doing in Texas if you want to live lighter, freer, and more fulfilled. Some are cultural. Some are practical. Some might surprise you. And a few might even make you laugh out loud. Stick with me until the end, because the final one could completely change how you see life in Texas tomorrow morning. Let's dive in. Number 1. Stop pretending the heat doesn't affect you. If you've lived in Texas long enough, you've heard it. It's just a dry heat. Cute saying, but mostly a lie. Houston humidity isn't dry anything. It's like breathing through a hot sponge. Dallas in August feels like standing under a hairdryer inside a wet sauna. San Antonio? You can break a sweat just walking to the mailbox. Yet somehow, Texans wear this as a badge of honor. You'll see folks at a July tailgate grilling brisket in jeans, no water bottle in sight, swearing they're just fine. Kids at two-a-day football practice fainting under helmets, but coaches shouting, "Walk it off!" And every summer, ERs overflow with people who underestimated the Texas sun. The reality? Heatstroke doesn't care how tough you are. UV rays don't respect state pride. In 2023 alone, hundreds of Texans died from heat-related illness. Farmers, construction crews, even teenagers who thought one more rep wouldn't hurt. And here's the kicker. Every Texan knows someone who had a scare. A grandfather who just went to check the fence line and didn't come back for hours. A coworker who forgot to drink water until they collapsed on the job. A neighbor who thought sunscreen was optional until they were diagnosed with melanoma. So stop pretending you're invincible. The real strength isn't in silently suffering. It's in surviving August intact. Drink water before you're thirsty. Wear the hat. Lather on the sunscreen. Take the shade, because no Texan ever looked weaker for grabbing a cold Topo Chico. But plenty have looked foolish being carried out of a football stadium on a stretcher. Number 2. Stop driving everywhere when you don't have to. Texas highways are legendary. 6-lane monsters in Dallas. The never-ending stretch of I-10 through West Texas. I-35 traffic in Austin that makes you question your life choices. Driving is part of the Texas identity, but here's the flip side. Car culture has quietly stolen our time, health, and community connection. Texans spend some of the longest hours in the U.S. stuck in traffic, over 54 hours a year on average in big metros. That's nearly 2 full days of your life wasted staring at brake lights. Think about it. That's 2 days you could have spent fishing at Lake Travis, hiking in Big Bend, or just sitting on the porch listening to cicadas. Instead, you're stuck inhaling exhaust, white-knuckling the steering wheel, and watching your sanity tick away mile by mile. And when you drive everywhere, you miss the smaller joys. That neighbor you'd normally wave at on a walk. The hole-in-the-wall taco stand you'd notice if you biked. The rhythm of your own heartbeat when you take the long way on foot. Texas is massive, sure. You can't walk to Amarillo from Dallas. But stop defaulting to the car for every trip. Walk to the corner store. Try the light rail in Houston or Dallas. Carpool to a concert. Even taking the bus once in a while can shift your perspective. Because the truth is, sometimes the best way to experience Texas isn't at 70 miles an hour. It's at walking speed. Number 3. Stop ignoring local water restrictions. Ask any Texan who's lived through a drought. Water is life. Ranchers know it. Farmers know it. Families in San Antonio know it every time the Edwards Aquifer level drops and the city imposes Stage 2 or Stage 3 restrictions. And yet, you'll still see sprinklers running at noon in July, wasting half the water to evaporation. People washing their trucks every weekend like they live next to Niagara Falls. Faucets dripping for weeks because I'll fix it later. Here's the truth. Texas is drying out. In 2023, over 70% of Texas counties faced drought conditions. Lakes dropped to record lows. Ranchers sold off cattle herds because they couldn't afford feed or water. And small towns literally trucked in water just to keep taps flowing. This isn't about nagging. It's survival. That gallon you waste on a green lawn could be the gallon a firefighter needs during wildfire season. That car wash every Saturday might be the difference between a full reservoir and empty pipes. Want to be a real Texan? Respect water. Plant native landscaping that thrives in the heat instead of forcing thirsty grass to live in a desert. Water lawns in the morning or evening, not under the noon sun. Fix the leaky faucet. Every drop matters. Because saving water isn't about restriction. It's about ensuring Texas still has rivers, lakes, and farms for our kids and grandkids. Number 4. Stop eating barbecue. Like it's a food group. Barbecue in Texas isn't food. It's religion. Brisket, ribs, jalapeno sausage, smoked low and slow, carved on butcher paper, devoured with pickles and white bread. It's so sacred, people line up for hours at Franklin's in Austin, or drive across the state to Snow's in Lexington. But here's the hard truth. Barbecue is a celebration, not a lifestyle. The average barbecue plate has more sodium and saturated fat than most people should eat in a week. And Texas isn't exactly leading the country in health rankings. Diabetes and heart disease remain top killers here. Why? Because somewhere along the line, barbecue stopped being special and started being Tuesday lunch. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's saying give up brisket. That would be un-Texan. But balance matters. Mix it up with Gulf shrimp, Tex-Mex veggie dishes, citrus from the Rio Grande Valley, or wild game leaner than store-bought beef. One story stands out. I met a man in San Marcos who proudly said he ate barbecue 5 days a week. By 55, he was on 3 medications for blood pressure and cholesterol. His doctor begged him to cut back. He finally switched to barbecue only once a week, and within 6 months, his numbers improved so much, he cut one of the meds completely. Lesson? Save barbecue for when it means something. Savor it. Share it. Let it be a celebration. Because no food, no matter how holy, is worth sacrificing years of your life. Number 5. Stop romanticizing the pickup truck if you don't need one. Trucks in Texas are more than vehicles. They're status symbols. Big lifted F-250s with chrome grills. Diesel engines that roar down the highway. Trucks that look ready to haul cattle across Amarillo, but mostly haul groceries from H-E-B. And listen, if you're a rancher, contractor, or anyone who genuinely uses a truck for work, you need it. No shame. But for many Texans, trucks aren't tools. They're oversized fashion statements. The numbers don't lie. The average new pickup in Texas costs over $55,000. Most get about 15 miles per gallon. Add insurance and maintenance, and suddenly you're paying hundreds every month for something you don't actually need. I knew a young couple in Dallas who bought a big truck Because that's what Texans drive. Within a year, they were drowning in payments. They couldn't afford vacations, date nights, or even simple weekends away because their money was sitting in the driveway. Stop buying trucks for show. Drive what fits your life, not your neighbor's expectations. Because the pride of being Texan isn't about the size of your vehicle, it's about the size of your spirit. Number 6. Stop underestimating hurricanes and tornadoes. Every year, storms roll through Texas. And every year, people say the same thing. We'll be fine. It's just some wind and rain, until it isn't. Hurricane Harvey in 2017 flooded more than 150,000 homes. The 2021 winter storm left millions without power or water. Tornadoes regularly tear through central and north Texas with almost no warning, and yet, year after year, people ignore evacuation orders, laugh off sirens, or skip building an emergency kit. It's not just the storms. It's our denial. Preparation doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you Texan. Keep flashlights, batteries, water, and canned food ready. Know your evacuation route. Have a plan for pets. Because storms don't care how tough you are. But preparation can mean the difference between chaos and calm. Think about it. Texans are proud of their independence. But true independence means being ready, not reckless. Number 7. Stop forgetting Texas is more than Dallas, Austin, and Houston. When people picture Texas, they usually see Austin's live music, Houston's skyline, or Dallas's sprawling freeways. And sure, those cities are cultural giants. But here's what too many Texans forget. This state is massive, diverse, rich, and breathtaking far beyond its biggest metros. Drive west and you'll hit the mystical desert landscapes of Big Bend, where the night skies are so clear you can see the Milky Way without a telescope. Head east and you'll find towering pine forests in places like Caddo Lake that look nothing like the deserts of El Paso. Stop in Fredericksburg and you'll taste German pastries while hearing polka music. Roll down to Padre Island and you'll walk sandy beaches where sea turtles hatch. But ask most Texans, they've barely explored outside their own county. They live as if Texas begins and ends on I-35. Here's the challenge. Take the road trip. See the wildflowers that blanket the hill country in spring. Hike Palo Duro Canyon, the Grand Canyon of Texas. Eat kolaches in West. Listen to conjunto music in the Rio Grande Valley. Because the happiest Texans aren't the ones who only know their zip code. They're the ones who know their state. Number 8. Stop treating healthcare like an emergency-only service. This one's tough love. Texas ranks near the bottom in the U.S. for healthcare access. And while some of that's due to policy and infrastructure, part of it is cultural. Too many Texans only go to the doctor when something's already gone wrong. Skipping checkups, ignoring screenings, toughing it out until it's unbearable. It's a dangerous game. For men, that often means heart disease caught too late. For women, cancers discovered at advanced stages. For kids, untreated asthma or diabetes that could have been managed early. I'll never forget meeting a man in Corpus Christi who hadn't seen a doctor in over a decade. Said he didn't believe in it. By the time he finally went, he'd already had 2 mini strokes without even knowing. His blood pressure was sky high. If he'd gone in sooner, his story might have been different. So stop treating healthcare like an afterthought. Prevention saves lives and money. Schedule that checkup. Get the screening. Take your kids in for regular visits. Because toughness doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means facing them before they take you down. Number 9. Stop leaving dogs in hot cars. Every Texas summer, we see the same heartbreaking headlines. Dogs left in cars, windows cracked, just for a minute. And every time, it ends the same way. Tragedy. Inside a car in Texas heat, temperatures can soar past 120 degrees in under 10 minutes. That minute, you think you'll be gone? It could cost a life. It happens so often that Texas passed Good Samaritan laws protecting people who break windows to rescue pets. Think about that. Laws exist because people keep making the same mistake. Texans are known for loyalty and big hearts. So let's prove it. If you can't take your dog inside, leave them home in the AC. Because no errand, no quick stop, no matter how small, is worth risking the life of your best friend. Number 10. Stop ignoring local culture in favor of chains. Texas is one of the most culturally rich states in America. Tejano music in San Antonio. Czech pastries in the West. Vietnamese crawfish boils in Houston. African American blues in Dallas. Native American traditions across the plains. And yet, drive through almost any Texas city and what do you see? Starbucks, Olive Garden, Chili's, copy-paste culture. Chains are convenient. But when you only eat at chains, you miss the real Texas. The mom-and-pop taqueria, where the tortillas are pressed by hand. The colache bakery that's been in the same family for 4 generations. The blues bar tucked away on a side street, alive with history and soul. Supporting locals isn't just about food. It's about identity. It keeps families in business. It keeps traditions alive. It reminds us that Texas is more than strip malls and big box stores. So next time, skip the chain. Explore the local joint. Because true Texas flavor doesn't come from a franchise menu. It comes from the community. Number 11. Stop treating recycling like someone else's job. Here's a not-so-fun fact. Texas is one of the top trash-producing states in the country. Every year, Texans generate over 33 million tons of waste, and only a fraction gets recycled. Too many people shrug it off. One person can't make a difference. But multiplied across 30 million Texans? Small actions add up. Recycling cans. Carrying a reusable water bottle. Composting food scraps. Simple changes, multiplied, equal millions of pounds of waste diverted from landfills. When we don't, landfills overflow. Plastic clogs rivers. Microplastics show up in Gulf seafood. The same shrimp you throw on the grill could carry the plastic you tossed last summer. Stop acting like recycling is optional. It's a responsibility. And in a state this beautiful, bluebonnets in spring, hill country creeks running clear, desert skies stretching forever, protecting the land isn't just a duty. It's pride. Number 12. Stop thinking bigger is always better. Go big or go home. That's the Texas motto, right? Big trucks, big homes, big meals, big everything. But here's the truth. Bigger isn't always better. Often it's just heavier. On your wallet, your time, and your stress. Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the nation. That dream mansion in the suburbs? It might come with crushing bills, long commutes, and weekends spent maintaining something you barely enjoy. I once spoke with a family outside Dallas who bought a 5,000 square foot dream home. Within 2 years, they were drowning in debt and working longer hours just to keep up. They sold it, downsized, and suddenly found themselves happier, freer, lighter. Stop chasing bigger. Sometimes smaller means more freedom. A smaller home closer to work. A car that doesn't eat half your paycheck in gas. Less stuff, more time. Because Texas pride isn't measured in square footage. It's measured in quality of life. Number 13. Stop ignoring mental health. This one's serious. Texas has some of the lowest access to mental health care in the nation. Suicide rates are climbing, especially among veterans, farmers, and young people. And yet, stigma lingers. People still say, just tough it out, or pray it away. But mental health struggles aren't a weakness. They're human. Anxiety, depression, PTSD. These are just as real as broken bones. I met a farmer outside Lubbock who nearly lost everything because he was too ashamed to admit he was struggling. When he finally spoke up, his community rallied. Counseling, medication, support. It turned his life around. Now, he mentors others through the same battles. Stop brushing it under the rug. Talk. Call a friend. See a counselor. Reach out if someone seems off. Because true Texas strength isn't silence. It's standing together. Number 14. Stop forgetting Texas is changing. Texas is one of the fastest growing states in America, adding nearly 1,000 new residents a day. That means more traffic, more development, more cultural blending, and with that, more opportunities. Some Texans grumble, that's not how it used to be. But clinging too tightly to the past blinds us to the future. New neighbors bring new restaurants, new music, new ideas. Cities are building bike lanes, renewable energy projects, and vibrant art scenes. Texas is evolving, just as it always has. Stop resisting every change. Adapt, learn, shape it. Because the future of Texas won't look exactly like the past. But if we carry forward the grit, the pride, and the community spirit, it can be even better. Number 15. Stop living like you'll have forever. And finally, the one that matters most. Texans live big, dream big, plan for someday. But here's the truth. Someday isn't a day on the calendar. Life is shorter than we like to admit. Every year slips by faster. The happiest Texans aren't the ones waiting for the perfect time. They're the ones saying yes now. The couple who finally drove their Airstream across the state after decades of delay. The grandmother who picked up painting at 70. The man who called his estranged brother before it was too late. Stop waiting. Take the trip. Make the call. Dance at Gruane Hall. Watch the Marfa lights. Plant the garden. Because the most Texas thing you can do isn't just living big. It's living now. Number 16. Stop overworking yourself into the ground. If there's one stereotype about Texans that's true, it's that we're hard workers. Ranchers up before sunrise. Teachers working weekends to support students. Oil field crews pulling 14-hour shifts in blazing heat. Entrepreneurs hustling in Austin coffee shops until 2 a.m. And let's be clear, hard work built Texas. From the cotton fields to the oil rigs to the high-tech labs, generations poured sweat into this land. But somewhere along the line, work turned from a tool into an idol. We glorify the grind. We brag about never taking a vacation. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. And yet, what's the reward? Stress, high blood pressure, missed birthdays, families growing apart because dad or mom was always at work. I once met a rancher outside Abilene who hadn't taken a day off in 25 years. He said it with pride. Cows don't take holidays. But when I asked about his kids, he admitted with a heavy silence, "They grew up without me." His voice cracked, not because he lacked money, but because he realized he couldn't buy back the time he lost. Here's the hard truth. Your work will always take everything you're willing to give it. But your life, your health, your family, your joy, that has limits. Push too far, and you break. Texas has some of the highest rates of stress-related health problems in the U.S. Heart attacks, sleep disorders, anxiety. Overwork isn't strength. It's self-destruction disguised as pride. Stop overworking yourself into the ground. Rest isn't laziness. It's maintenance. It's fuel. You wouldn't run a pickup truck 24/7 without oil changes and expect it to last. Why treat your body differently? Take the vacation. Sleep in. Say no when you need to. Go fishing in the hill country. Camp under Big Bend skies. Let yourself recharge. Because grit is valuable, but grit without recovery turns to dust. And here's the secret. When you rest, you don't just get your energy back. You get clarity, creativity, relationships. You get your life back. That's the Texas way worth keeping. Number 17. Stop ignoring the power of community. Texans pride themselves on independence. We fix our own fences. We grill our own steaks. We carry our own weight. That cowboy spirit runs deep, but independence doesn't mean isolation. And too often, Texans confuse the two. We tell ourselves, I don't need help. We sit in silence when we're struggling. We avoid knocking on a neighbor's door, even when we know they'd gladly lend a hand. But here's the truth. The Texas that survives and thrives has never been built on solo effort. It's been built on community. Think about it. After Hurricane Harvey, it wasn't just FEMA trucks rolling in. It was regular Texans with bass boats rescuing neighbors. During the 2021 winter freeze, when millions lost power, churches opened their doors as warming shelters. Mosques, synagogues, and community centers became kitchens feeding strangers. Farmers gave away food before it spoiled. Strangers delivered firewood to families they'd never met. That's Texas. That's community. But too many of us live like a community is optional. Like asking for help is a weakness. Like offering help is meddling. And it's costing us. Loneliness rates in Texas have quietly soared. Suicide, especially among veterans and farmers, has climbed. Families move to new subdivisions where nobody even knows their neighbors' names. We have to stop ignoring the community because it's our greatest survival tool. I once visited a small town in East Texas where a tornado ripped through the main street, businesses flattened, homes destroyed. But you know what struck me? Within hours, everyone was outside helping everyone else. Kids clearing debris, churches organizing meals, farmers loaning equipment. Nobody asked who was Republican or Democrat, rich or poor. They just helped. And within months, the town was rebuilding stronger than before. That's the Texas strength the world admires. Not the lone cowboy on the prairie, but the neighbors who show up when everything falls apart. So here's the challenge. Knock on your neighbor's door. Learn their name. Share a meal. Show up at the town festival. Volunteer one Saturday a month. Or simply check in on the elderly couple down the road. Because independence may make you strong, but community makes you unbreakable. And in a world that feels heavier every year, being unbreakable is the greatest gift we can give ourselves and each other. If you've made it this far, you're not here for passing entertainment. You're here because you care about living better and maybe even making Texas better. So here's the deal. If this message resonates, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Not just for the algorithm, but because you never know who's waiting for that little push to start living freer, lighter, and more joyfully. All right, let's finish strong. So there you have it. 17 things to stop doing in Texas if you want a life that's happier, healthier, and more meaningful, not because you've been doing everything wrong, but because you've earned the right to live better, to live freer, to live lighter. Texas isn't just land. It's people. It's a story. It's resilience. It's the grandmother in El Paso who waters her desert garden before the sun rises. The rancher in West Texas who finally lets himself take a weekend off to fish with his grandkids. The Houston family that rebuilds after a storm. Not just their house, but their community. And the choices we make about our health, our environment, our culture, our time, and our relationships. Those choices shape the Texas we hand to the next generation. We can keep clinging to old habits, old pressures, old myths. Or we can stop. We can let go. And in letting go, we make room. Room for peace. Room for joy. Room for presence. Room for what really matters. So let me ask you one last time. What's the one thing you're ready to stop doing starting today? Maybe it's working yourself sick. Maybe it's waiting for someday. Maybe it's living like your neighbor's opinion matters more than your own happiness. Whatever it is, say it. Speak it. Drop it in the comments if you feel brave enough, because you never know whose life your courage might inspire. And remember this, the Texas spirit has never been about size. It's not the biggest house, the biggest truck, or the biggest paycheck. The Texas spirit has always been about heart, about grit, about community, about living boldly and fully with the time we've been given. So don't wait. Don't hold back. Don't live like forever is guaranteed. You have today. You have this moment. And that's more than enough to begin. Because in the end, the future of Texas isn't about being bigger. It's about being better. And it starts with us.